most consultants are doing selling the wrong way. And if that's you, it's costing you clients you should have had. You may have heard the phrase, always be closing. It's the mantra of traditional sales, but it's completely wrong for consultants. That approach might still work if you're selling products, but it doesn't work for consulting. Because when you sell consulting services the same way you sell products, you actually push good clients away. You create pressure in the conversation and you undermine the very thing you need to win the deal: trust and authority. The truth is, selling consulting services isn't about closing deals, it's about opening relationships. And in this video, I'm going to show you why that shift completely changes your results and how consultants who stop trying to close start winning more of the right clients with far less effort. Before we jump into that training on improving your selling process though, you may be in the position where you're not getting enough opportunities to sell. So we have a complete training around that, which is called Clients on Command. This training is all about how to create a marketing process that puts pre-sold clients in front of you in a sales meeting, so that the training we're doing in this video will help you take that sales process to the next level. But if you need more sales opportunities, then the Clients on Command training is what you should be looking at as well. So check out the link in the description below this video so that you can get more clients on command. In traditional selling, it's all about a transaction. It's all about a product that someone might like to buy, and the salesperson wants to convince or persuade the potential purchaser that that product is exactly what they need. So in traditional selling, the ABC approach is about trying to convince or persuade someone that your product is what they need. But that is all about a transaction. Now, in selling consultancy services, it's not a transactional process, because what we are trying to achieve in selling consulting services is really the start of a relationship. Because when we sell our services, it's opening a relationship. It's the start of the process, not the conclusion. So always be closing, and the clue is in the label. We are closing a sale. It's closing a transaction. But for us consultants, we are wanting to open a relationship. Now, when we're trying to close a sale, that process of trying to convince and persuade actually creates pressure. And in a traditional sales approach, maybe that pressure is not a bad thing in some cases, although nobody likes to be pressured into buying something that they don't really want. So we want to avoid pressure in trying to sell our consultancy services. In fact, in the power selling system that I recommend, it's actually about alleviate all of the pressure from the process, but being able to sell with power. And that is a process of empowering our clients to make decisions that are in their best interests. So when we are trying to open a relationship, we want to take away the pressure from the sales conversation completely. And we want to give power to our clients so that they can make intelligent decisions, so that they understand what's involved when they sign up with us, and so that they understand that they're actually buying the right solution for them. And what I've found to be the most important factor in selling consultancy services and establishing a relationship with our potential clients is that they never buy from us until they first trust us. So our process of selling is not about closing a transaction, but first of all, it's about establishing trust in the relationship. So most of our focus needs to be on doing the things that build trust. We can't pressure our clients into buying our services, and if we do that, we may end up with a client who doesn't really want to work with us. In fact, I read a quote the other day that goes along the lines of, a client that is sold against their will is of the same opinion still. So that's quite an apt quotation that we should remember. So we want to take away pressure. We want to build trust. So in our process of selling, how do we establish trust? And that's about the power approach. And if you've seen my previous videos in this playlist, you will understand what power stands for. Briefly, it is about, first of all, positioning yourself as the authority, then owning the agenda in the sales meeting, winning their trust, educating and recommending your solution. So what I've seen from most consultants is that typically the only sales approach we've ever really seen, and even if you do sales training, it's the traditional selling approach, which is the ABC approach. We are taught to present our solution. We are taught to try to persuade and convince our potential client that our service is right for them. And as I've said, anytime you try and present your solution or try to persuade or convince somebody that what you have is right for them, it actually creates resistance in their mind. It creates an emotional impact that is about resisting, because people don't want to go ahead of where their comfort zone is, and persuading and convincing is right, pushing people beyond their comfort zone. So we want to stay away from that approach and really allow our clients to dictate the pace. And in the power selling approach, it is really about structuring a conversation that allows our clients to maintain control of their thinking and of their buying intent. So with the power approach, it's really about selling without selling. Now, what I've seen from most consultants is that we spend most of our time selling in a sales conversation. And I think this is a legacy of the typical approach of selling consultancy services, where we get a referral. We are talking to someone who's been referred to us by somebody else. So a lot of that trust that we need in selling our services is already established in that referral process. People come to us with a level of trust. So it's much easier to jump into a sales conversation with someone who's been referred to us. And that trust platform is partly built, and we need to then confirm that in our sales approach. And we can easily undermine that and destroy trust if we approach our sales the wrong way, even in that referred situation. So we want to avoid that, even with a referral. But when we have a marketing generated lead, when someone comes to us either through our outbound marketing or comes inbound through our marketing approach, we need to be focusing on building trust first. And in my experience, building trust comes before even going into a sales meeting. So our marketing process, our positioning ourselves as the authority, that first step in the power approach, is all about establishing trust and authority, so that when people come to us in our sales relationship, that platform of trust is almost already at the point where they want us to be able to solve their problem. They want us to have the solution. They already want to buy our services because they have a level of trust that we've established through our positioning, through our authority content, through our marketing approach. So rather than thinking of sales as what happens in our sales conversation, I want you to think of it as a broader approach, a longer term approach, where a lot of the convincing, or which we don't want to be doing in our sales meeting, is already done before we get into that meeting. So positioning yourself as the authority is where the power really starts from in our sales and marketing approach. We want to enter our sales conversation with that power of authority and trust already established. So rather than seeing our ability to sell our clients as coming from our ability to persuade and convince them in our sales meeting, I want you to see that most of that authority and trust has to be built even before you get in the room, or even before you get in a Zoom call or a video conference or a telephone call, however it is that you go about selling your services. That level of trust and authority needs to be established before you start the sales conversation. And when you do that, it actually makes the conversation much smoother and easier. You don't have to sell if that level of trust and authority is already established. When you get into that sales conversation, it's really about facilitating a process where your clients can buy your services rather than having to sell them or convince them that they need your services. So let's do it differently. When we start our process or think about our sales and marketing, the positioning yourself as the authority is the key factor in all of this. So if we look at the contrast between the ABC pressure selling approach and the power selling approach of positioning yourself as the authority coming first, it's about focusing on, or ABC is focusing on persuasion, power selling is focusing on positioning. With the ABC approach, the consultant is chasing the sale, where with the power selling approach, we are trying to attract our clients. Our focus is on attraction, not persuasion, not chasing. The ABC approach creates pressure with trying to convince and persuade, whereas the power selling approach builds trust and authority. The ABC approach makes our clients defensive. It puts them on the defense. It creates resistance, whereas the power selling approach enables the client to open up and talk to us and reveal what's important to them. The ABC approach is pushing towards the close. It's trying to create a decision-making process, where the power selling approach is really about guiding a client to clarity, where they can make an informed decision that's in their best interest. The ABC approach is all about the transaction. The power approach is all about the relationship. So let's build that approach in your whole approach to sales and marketing. So if you take one thing away from this, it's this: stop trying to close, start trying to clarify. When you create clarity and trust, clients close themselves. So if this has resonated with you at all, watch this next video where I'll show you how exactly to structure your sales conversations so that clients lean in instead of resisting, and so that they'll ask, how can I work with you, rather than asking you to send a proposal. That's where you really get power in your sales conversations. So make sure you watch that video.